Every now and then over the past several months, in moments when I wasn't working here in this room, I have wandered into another world, a wonderful one, inhabited by some joyous creatures who have become friends. I visited them in the desert of New Mexico and in a mysterious mansion in a certain East Coast metropolis. But they live all over, wherever there is innocence, wherever there is memory or magic.
Oh, I'll get it, yes.
This is such a place, among the efficient professionals making a movie on location near Albuquerque. This was just about the last day of shooting for an adventure film that will open soon at a theater near you, as they say. It has a lot of stars, almost none of them people.
Push it in a little bit in. There.
This is the second feature movie of the Muppets, that rowdy band of players that has now completed a final year of television programs and is about to go big time, directed into our world by their inventor, Jim Henson.
In the television show, we bring a guest into the Muppet world, and for the features, we're taking the characters out into the real world, and that's a lot of fun.
The real world is supposed to be big and cruel, and the Muppets are so innocent. Aren't you afraid you'll harm them?
Well, let's see. No, I think that whole, it's the Muppets meeting the world. You know, I think that's one of their appeals. They have this kind of an innocence of a person meeting the world for the first time.
And action!
Up here, isn't it?
Kermit? Huh? What if we drift out to sea? What if we're never heard from again? What if there's a storm? Or we get struck by lightning? That'd be neat.
Listen, nothing's gonna happen. This is just the opening credits.
Oh, where are they? Wow!
The Great Muppet Caper.
Nice title.
The Great Muppet Caper, the newest accumulation of Muppet madness for the movies.
There's very few things that we do that we created. I think we've invented very little, but what we've done is we've taken a lot of different techniques that from all different forms of puppetry and television and sort of put them all together into one thing.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Good.
At the moment, we're doing some new things with radio control, and we're different ways of manipulating characters.
This piece fits on the axis of it. The artist is the person who, with the performer, creates the show. And we would, in that case... What I do is help them all as much as I can by making it possible for them to do things which, without these devices, they otherwise might not be able to achieve. It would fit.
His name is Faz Fazakas, and he's a wizard. He works in the farthest corner of the lowest floor of a beautiful old townhouse.
Drive through the center.
Down here, he mumbles and creates and invents marvelous devices that delight. He thinks of us smiling and chuckling, and he smiles and chuckles while he works in this Muppet factory.
We do quite a lot of remotely controlled puppets and devices, props, special effects stuff. This is basically a special effects syndrome here. And so what we put together is stuff that you just don't make. You have to think it up and then design it and put it together. It's design work.
Our story begins on a chilly day in late autumn. Emmett Otter and his ma were headed up the river, rowing and singing.
If you put the otter in the boat and put it in a pond, the puppeteer cannot row that boat, nor can he operate the otter. Now, what I did was, in this particular instance, was make it possible for this to happen. So I'm really, in a way, I'm a helper.
She was known even more for the bathing suit she wore. Even so, it was her bathing suit that made her famous. It was almost heaven sent. Many times when it was drying on the line, a tourist would mistake it for a circus tent.
For a man who likes to fiddle with gadgets and invent, this job must be some kind of pinnacle or peak.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know of any other place that could provide the opportunities for things, neat things to do, as Jim Henson would call it. He likes to say, he wants to do some neat things.
Something more.
And he's a good one for providing problems and asking for things. Somebody who asks you for something is your friend.
From the one bathing suit that your Grandma Otter wore. From the one bathing suit that your Grandma Otter wore.
Once there were no Jane Muppets Henson was present at the creation. She and Jim started the Muppets before they were married. That was more than 20 years ago. Do you ever yearn for the days when things were so simple, just you and Jim and a few hand puppets?
I do, yes. It was small, and I know Jim had a lot of ideas then. He just always had continuous ideas that he wanted to do, and he's been fortunate that the doors have opened so that he has the opportunity to do these larger, challenging projects. But some of it gets a bit large and vast for me.
Somebody's checking in!
Somebody's checking in!
Happiness Hotel is the large and vast number from the new film. It could be a description of this place.
Order dinner, there's no kitchen anymore. But if the road been kind of bumpy and you need to rest a spell, well, welcome home to Happiness Hotel.
It's like taking anything that exists in nature and giving it a life. It's like you start walking around and everything you see starts to sort of talk or move or, and for example, this could very well be someone poking me with a feather, or it could be a bird brushing against my face. It could be anything you want it to be.
Welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. No matter where you wander, you will never do as well.
I notice this is not exactly a dour, somber place to work.
No, I don't think it could be. The whole concept of behind a puppet show is kind of joyous. That's the nature of puppets. I think this is one of the reasons people think of it somewhat as a children's medium, because it's innocent. And I don't mean the Muppets are innocent, but
some are more innocent than others.
Some are more innocent than others, yeah.
They are superstars, gliding innocently through the culture on the smooth machines of Faz Fazakas, singing along with Jim Henson and Frank Oz, the Piggy perpetrator. Frank Oz's creation, Miss Piggy, has us all acting as silly as Tom Sawyer's showing off for Becky Thatcher.
The remarkable thing about Miss Piggy is that no matter how many clothes she has, whenever she's invited to do something, we go through her closets and there's nothing. She has nothing to wear.
Miss Piggy's Gowns by Callista Hendrickson.
That's a very common feeling among women, you know. Whatever, no matter how many clothes you have, you never have anything that's really suitable for the occasion, and you've got to get something new.
It occurs to me that none of the other great designers of the world have clients as demanding as yours. Just designing for Miss Piggy alone must be a challenge.
Well, she does have certain personality traits which make it sometimes difficult, but on the whole, it's a delight to design for such a star.
She's, how would you describe the Piggy style?
Well, I think we can all agree that it's excessive, overdone, super feminine, super alluring, very much caught up in her own fantasy of who she is.
Any woman would be proud to own such a thing as this.
Most of what Miss Piggy wears is suitable in a boudoir, as you can see. She's definitely a boudoir character.
Now they're big-time movie stars. The television Muppet Show is going into reruns. The Muppets are part of us now. They are alive for us.
They have a kind of life, and it's interesting because with the Muppet Show coming to an end, I'm very concerned because you spend 5 years building this relationship between them all, and Kermit and Piggy and Gonzo and Fozzie, and, you know, and then when the show stops, you know, that life can't end. You know, it's got to keep going, and it will in various and sundry forms.
After working with the Muppets, Lily Tomlin said, it's like working with anybody else, except when you have to take a break, you don't go out for coffee together. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, as we put them all in the drawer, in boxes and so forth, which we try not to let anybody see us put them in the boxes.
But even seeing some of the characters lying around here, they still seem live to me.
Charlie? Oh, wow. Like, I knew you're busy and everything, but maybe you could stop and have some herbal tea and granola bars. I mean, after all, you're one of my favorite people on TV, and you're such a good-looking dude.
Can we please get on with this, Mr. Carell?
Huh?
This did not happen with Morley Safer.
Oh, really? Did somebody say Marley Safer?
Okay, Janice. Thanks.
Well,
We're working with fantasy here. You know, this is illusion, and there's a play element which is terribly important. We have to never lose that.
We sort of write things that we enjoy, and we write the kind of entertainment that we have fun with. So we're really working for ourselves.
Now she has left us, left with sweet memories, and left with something more.
More than just fun, it's enriching. It's the kind of thing that challenges. And if you have a focus that demands something of you, so you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it, then you're on the edge of fulfilling something in yourself.
Well, what if there's a storm? Or we get struck by lightning? That'd be neat.
There are a lot of people working very hard to make those characters seem that real. They work very carefully, and that's a surprise to me a lot of times, how many people are willing to devote themselves to making these characters real. Magic, it's a magic kind of quality.
You got every kind of critter. You got every kind of pest. But we treat them all as equals, just like any other guest. Though you're cleaner than the others, still as far as we can tell, you'll fit right in to Happiness Hotel. We'll fit right in to Happiness Hotel.
Oh!